Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So once again, I'll show you where we are working on the pattern. We are still in the fountain. We're going to get some swans in this diagonal. You can see a little bit of one there, sort of appearing on the edge of the diagonal I just completed. So yeah, pretty excited about that bit. So I apologize if my voice sounds a little weird today. We had a bunch of wildfire smoke in our area yesterday, and it was pretty bad. Like, even staying inside the house, all the windows shut, everything, my eyes were burning for a lot of the day. I had to put in eye drops several times because I naturally have dry eyes, but yeah, with wildfire smoke in the area, it really doesn't help. So, and yeah, my throat's a little sore from it, so it's clearing up today, thankfully. And I won't complain too hard because, I mean, the fire isn't in our area. We're not in any danger, so I can put up with some smoke. But yeah, in the prairies, you get a fire anywhere, it spreads quite a lot because it's so flat and there's really no mountain ranges or anything to stop it from spreading, so it can go quite far. Ooh, pardon me. Yeah, and I'm pretty sensitive to that. We had one time, I was, where I was living, there had been a big fire at a lumber yard. It's several blocks from my house, but they had like a gas tank exploded and most of it burned. And I didn't make the connection, but like the next day I started having trouble breathing where I felt like I could not take a whole breath in. Couldn't seem to get enough oxygen. And we went to the, went to the ER and they said, okay, well, we'll do, some breathing tests, and they did some x-rays and stuff to see if, they said sometimes your lungs you can get a collapsed lung even without an injury. It's rare, but it can happen. So they wanted to make sure that wasn't the case. And everything was fine. And so they gave me some inhalers, a couple inhalers, and I was okay after that pretty much. And it wasn't until a couple weeks later that I made the connection that it was probably because of that explosion and fire. There was so much, pollution in the air that it affected my breathing, because nobody else around me was affected. And like, I don't have asthma or anything, so I'm just, yeah, like I said, pretty darn sensitive to this stuff. So yeah, thankfully wasn't anything wrong with me, but it's like, yeah, I wish I'd made that connection before spending, 3 hours in an ER. Oh dear. And it sort of became one of those, like a vicious cycle thing, because you have trouble catching your breath, which makes you nervous, which makes you breathe, try to breathe faster, which makes you feel even more breathless. It's, yeah, it kind of builds on itself, right? The more you feel you can't breathe, the more panicky you feel that you can't breathe. So yeah, but thankfully I'm seeing a bit more blue sky today. It's been fairly windy. It was fairly windy the last couple of days while we had the smoke. So I guess it blew the smoke into our area, but now it's blowing it away from our area. So yeah. Well, before we know it, wildfire season will be over. I had some friends posting about, their upcoming weather forecast, and it was like 109 Fahrenheit, which is like 42 Celsius. And I'm just like, yeah, nope, no, thank you. I said, yeah, meanwhile, I'm going to need to use my furnace soon, and I am totally okay with that. Oh. Yeah, I love autumn weather. I would love it if it could be like year round. It's a little cool, so it's great for, having out your blankets and your sweaters and having hot drinks. But not too cold or depressing, because there's still a fair amount of light. It's not like winter because, yeah, winter I'm okay. I get the winter blues, but I'm okay for the most part until about February, because the holidays are over, and for us, spring is still 2, even 3 months away. So at that point, it's just, oh my gosh, be done now. And it keeps on, you know, faking you out, because it'll warm up for a few days and you think, ah, finally it's spring. And then it dumps, you know, another foot of snow on us. Like, oh, come on. Yeah, you never know though. We had one time when my husband was supposed to be away, and they were forecasting 15 centimeters of snow, 15 or 20, which is over half a foot of snow. So yeah, he had to show us how to use the snowblower, my son and I. But then thankfully it ended up changing and we didn't need to. So yeah, I think he went through 7 winters here shoveling snow before he finally just said, okay, that's it, I'm done. I'm buying a snowblower. Yeah, they're kind of an essential here. People are so nice though. Like, we had our neighbor who we had one time, my gosh, I had snow up to my side mirrors on my car, and neighbor took his snowblower and dug me out. It was really, really nice. I didn't even ask. I came out, I was going to shovel it or whatever, try to see if I could move my car, and he was clearing beside my car. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Because yeah, you know, sometimes we'll repay the favor, and if my husband's out there clearing snow, he'll also do the sidewalk in front of their house, and sometimes even their driveway too. Because yeah, you're required to also keep the sidewalk in front of your property clear. Because yeah, they plow the streets sometimes. Sidewalks are, yeah, our responsibility, not the city's. Although our street almost never gets plowed. You just learn to deal with it. Yeah, we're close to a elementary school, but we're not on the actual bus route. So yeah, we're not plowed, because when they plow, it's the highways and the bus routes, the school bus routes get done first, and then they'll do residential areas if they have to. A lot of the times they don't bother. So you just have to learn to deal. First couple of years that I had my license and we lived out here, I didn't want to drive on the snow. It scared me, but finally I just said, I am so sick of I can't go to the grocery store myself. I have to get my husband to drive me. So I said, okay, fine, I'll just learn. So I did. Now I'm used to it. So as long as you don't drive too fast, jerk the wheel, you're generally going to be okay. Yes, so I finally finished my apple juice. You can see I'm all stained. Oh, yeah, I wore gloves, but I mean, you still get some of it on your hands. Stained my nail beds. But yeah, now we have lots of juice, over 51 liters. So I said a jar of juice a week then for a year. Well, I actually had about 6 or 7 liters left from the previous harvest. So my husband took them to work for them there. So they were pretty happy about that. Oh, that's usually when we go to a friend's place to visit. I'll bring a couple of jars of juice, maybe a jam for them. It's always a big hit. Yeah, it took me less time this year. It often takes me a week, but this year took me about 4 days. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, the worst part is having to scrub the floor, because nothing works otherwise. Mop and bucket and steam mop, it just does not take the sticky out from the juice. So it's yeah, get down on your hands and knees and scrub it. And then sort of rinse it off with a sponge mop and bucket kind of thing afterwards. But all done for another year. Yeah, and it was because last year we had a big windstorm and it broke my apple tree. Lost about 1/3 of it. And so normally we get 40 liters of juice approximately per year, and this year we got over 50. So I said the little tree has is more than making up for whatever we lost from the big tree. After it broke. Yeah, it was wild because I remember hearing cracking sound, but I didn't know what made it. And then it wasn't till the next day I was taking out the garbage, and it was like, wait a minute, why is a bunch of my apple tree on the ground? And oh, that's what it was. It broke. Yeah, it was old and rotting. I'm actually surprised it's still producing anything. It's been dying for quite a while. I think it's getting close to 50 years old, so. Because, yeah, I think it was probably planted when the house was built in the mid-70s, so, yeah, that would make it coming on to 50 years, so. They said they live anywhere from 25 to 50 years, so it's had a good run, especially considering that we don't really do much to care for it. It's pretty low maintenance, which is really nice. Okay. Oh yeah, I can see here's going to be the neck of the swan, and here's his wings and his tail. Yeah, that's my favorite part of the design. That was what really caught my eye, was the fountain and the swans. .76%, so we are closing in on that 80. Woohoo. So I did the math, and I think by the time I get to the far edge of this piece, ready for my last pass, it'll be about 86% done. Yeah. And then we'll have one final sweep across the pattern, one more horizontal pass, and we will be done. It's a bit of a long carry, but I think I'm going to thread it along the back and just carry it there anyway, rather than ending and reattaching it. Yeah. Trying to make sure I don't, make a knot on the back here when I do that. Okay, just gonna check my threads. what's going where. Okay. Whether I wanted to, double back with this one, or carry further on downwards, or even end it off and restart. We'll see. Thing is, all this color that's here where it would be across the back is quite a light color, and I haven't stitched it yet. I'd be a little worried that the thread would show through, so I'm actually going to end this thread off and reattach it later. I just don't want to take the chance of the color showing through on the other side. So yeah, that is why I chose to do it that way. Ouch. Try not to stab myself there. That didn't feel very good. Yeah, so like normally I would carry it close by, but I don't want any of these dark sort of background colors to show through on the swans. So I end them off. And I don't want to pin stitch them in that area for the same reason. I don't want them showing through. So, okay. No, that is a short one, so I'm going to end it off either way. There's really no debate about that one. Okay, this is a longer piece, and it's a lighter color, so this one I feel safe in carrying across the back because it's light enough I won't have to worry about it showing through. Okay, 37, 47. $114, yeah. So we're getting close to being done with this color. I got another 0 the other day. It was $8.19, really light pink. So another completed one. Got about a half dozen 0s now. Yeah, so it's wild. The last couple days were really hot. Today it's cool enough. I don't know if I'm going to have to turn the furnace on. Maybe I'll bake some bread. Warm the house up that way. Yeah, I don't make a lot of bread in the summer because it's just too hot, but it's a cool day and we all love homemade bread. I make butter buns where you make basically bread dough and then you roll it out, butter it, you fold it, butter it, fold it. You do that as many times as you can and then cut them into pieces, put them in muffin tins, and then they make nice flaky buns that you can pull apart. They're so good. One of my friends said they look like tardigrades, which they do kind of once they're done, but they're so yummy. Yeah, I actually started baking bread like 20 years ago because my husband's parents gave us a bread maker as a wedding gift. So yeah, that's when I started making it. And yeah, Yeah, so I said I got into the baking bread before the pandemic made it cool. Yeah, I was lucky because like the stores all ran out of yeast and flour because everybody was baking bread, wanting to bake bread. And I said, well, luckily I already had some because, yeah. So I didn't run out. I still had a whole big jar of it in my fridge, so it wasn't a problem. Yeah, it was interesting because I had a cashier at the store tell me, first of all the bread was bought out and gone. Then all the flour was bought out, and when they got, you know, pre-baked bread back in the store, it sat there because everybody was making their own then at that point. So let's see. I'm probably going to do 2 threads here. We shall see. Yeah, I think so. So we got sort of 2 swans, one here. Or if this is his, oh, I think this is his wing, this is his neck, yeah. But sort of 2 areas of that same color. I'm gonna get a shorter piece for the top part, I think. Yeah. So I can avoid closing anything in. Yeah, or I've made cinnamon rolls with bread. Those are pretty yummy. They're not like the traditional cinnamon bun. They're more like a bread, cinnamon raisin bread. And then I roll up the dough like a jelly roll, slice it, and make twists out of it that way. It's very yummy. And not too sweet or sticky, because I don't like overly sweet generally. So yeah, as you can see, I work from this left down, but not always straight. I'm sort of working this white bit, and then I'm going to fill in this background bit next. Yeah, I don't follow strict rules, just or go row by row. Just whatever makes sense to me at the time. Whatever strikes my fancy. Ah, there we go. Wanted a really short one for just a single sort of stitch in the corner there. Yes, so I finally wore out the first of my my floss envelopes from putting it in the, sliding it in and out of the case, holding it. Finally split along the bottom of the envelope, so, but easy to replace. Yeah, it's the system I'm happy with. I've seen people use bags, which is kind of nice because you can see the colors, whereas I'm using envelopes, so they're opaque, but I like the stiffness of the envelopes. I find makes it easier to go through them. Alrighty. I had to do my workout in the house again because of that smoke. But yeah, there's still, the worst year was the year my son was about 2. Couldn't even see across the street. the smoke was that thick. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back up a bit and fill in these darker colors. Yeah, I probably should have started my bread before I started making this video. It could have been rising. Oh well. Yeah, I do my own pizza dough too. Sometimes freezes well, so I'll make a big batch and freeze parts of it, and then we can make our own individual pizzas. Oh, my husband and I like the calzone, like the pizza pockets. Yeah, and then my son just likes the plain cheese pizza. What we put in ours sort of depends what I have. I've had veggie ones. I had zucchini and mushrooms and onions in one, sometimes meat. It was so good. Okay, 414. I think that one was threaded, but now it no longer is. Oh well. Okay. Bit here of a stitch in part and a stitch in part, but that's okay. I don't really mind. Okay, 934. Pardon me. Yeah, so I ordered one of those, oh, did I put this? Oh, yeah, I did too. Look at that. Silly me. I put it on the wrong side of the grid line. That's what I get for not paying attention. And I probably will have to cut this, yeah. One of the problems of attaching it from the front and pulling the loop to the wrong side with the loop start is undoing it's really, really tough. So I don't even bother generally now to even try. I just cut it out when I screw up. Anyway, I ordered one of those Morgan hoop stand combos where it has like 2 hoops that are connected with some straight up and down bars to make a lap stand. Because yeah, the lap stand that I bought, I'm not thrilled with, I have to say. The double check I'm in the right place. Yeah, the bolt that holds the work up, just it won't stay tight. It keeps slipping, and so the work keeps collapsing on me. And I tried doing the ruler fix like I did with my this big floor stand, but didn't want to work either. So I said, okay, fine, I give up. It was supposed to also be a sit-on stand, but I found it wasn't high enough for that. I would have had to sort of hunch over to use it if I sat on it. Didn't have enough height, so I was using it as a lap stand, and then yeah, it keeps collapsing, so I'm not thrilled with it. So yeah, I'm trying the one that's the 2 hoops, because that can't collapse, right? Because it's got 3 legs on it, so it's not just attached on one side. So that should hopefully work better. So we'll see for my second project. Pardon me. My firefly, which I work at that background when I'm too tired to do this complex one, but I still want to stitch. I'm thinking it might fit in my craft bag better for portability too. So that means I'll have to make some new grime guards to make one big one to go around it, because the ones I have right now are square ones for my Q snaps. So but I have a working sewing machine now after that saga where I went through 2 new ones before I found one that actually worked. Yeah, 2 singers, they were both garbage, so I gave up and bought a brother. And it's a machine, it's a quilting machine too, because it's got a bunch of quilt stitches. Like, geez, all I wanted was the was it to be able to make a surging kind of edge and a straight stitch. That's it. I don't need any of that other fancy stuff, but that was the cheapest basic bottle came with it. So I don't know, maybe I'll try getting into something more fancy one day, but I really don't need another hobby, I think. Yeah, I've seen some gorgeous quilts, but I really don't need to start a new hobby. Not when I have the supplies for like 8 more cross-stitch, full coverage cross-stitch patterns. Yeah, I don't need to be taking on more supplies, and I already have half a closet full of yarn from knitting, which I don't do as much now, but I still have so much yarn, so I really don't need to be, yeah, adding to my stash and starting to buy fabric and quilting batting and such. That's, I'll be good. At least for now anyway, we'll see. Oh, tried to fold that in half, but it didn't stay. But yeah, my sister-in-law does some really nice ones. She did one that was kind of almost fluorescent-y kind of colors, and it had these spiral patterns. So I said, oh, it looked like the 80s spirograph. So remember those? Yeah, those were fun. My, I got my son one because they had it in as one of the options in one of his Scholastic book orders. So I got him one because I thought really cool. And he's like, he played with it for a little while, and then he's just not that interested. I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know, you have a smartphone. This is not as cool as it to you as it is to me when I was a kid. I got a great big spirograph set for Christmas one year, and it had all sorts of different cool. I even remember one of the pieces almost kind of looked like octopus arms coming off it, but only had 3 of them, and then you would run one of the gears on the outside, make really cool big designs. It was pretty neat. It's funny because when I first got it, I didn't really understand how to use it. It was like, do you trace around these? But they've got like rough edges. How do you do that? Because of course they're like gears and they're meant to fit together. So I was like, oh, okay. Guess I should have read the directions, right? Oh, dear. Okay, oh, look at that. Only 3 left of this color, but I think they're probably, who knows where they are. It's hard to tell where those other 2 stitches are. Doesn't look like in this section, so we won't be hitting another 0 for a while. It might even be in the next pass across the pattern. So, rats. I was hoping we get another 0, but no such luck. There will be only 2 left after this. Oh, well, every stitch counts, right? Yeah, we are closing in on 180,000 stitches done on this project. A really short piece, but it was just long enough to do 1 stitch and then end off the thread. Might as well. Okay. Yeah, I didn't bother leaving this one threaded because it's too short for the needles to stay on. So I would end up having to rethread it anyway, so there's no point in even trying. I haven't seen much of this color for a while. This was more being used in the leaves, in the more towards the upper left of this pattern. All to do 1 stitch, but that's just how it is sometimes. This is why I haven't done a max color by Heaven and Earth Designs. I don't want to deal with that much extra confetti. Yeah, there was one where somebody said one of the colors was for 1 single stitch in the entire project. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful, but I personally don't see enough of a difference that I want to deal with that much more confetti. I think I might get so aggravated I might not finish the project, and, well, that would be a real shame, right? Yeah, even this has been the most complex pattern I've done so far, and it's like 90 colors. There's been quite a lot of confetti. Ah, the last one. Hey, I will get a 0 this session. Woohoo! Excellent. Yeah, excellent. I love when that happens. So now I will set that envelope aside. I can put it back into my main master set, because I will not need it for this project anymore. Yeah, I love when I can do that. Then there's fewer envelopes to sort through for the remaining colors, so that helps as well. No point in keeping them in there if I'm not using them anymore. I guess this is his beak. The swan's beak here. Woohoo! Another 0. Excellent. Love reaching the 0. Especially with such a big project, you got to take those moments of I accomplished something as they arise, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll start a new one up there. The piece I'm using was way too short anyway, if I wanted to carry it. So, new thread either way. I wonder if that's my biggest swan, or if there's one more in this area, if it's any bigger. I'm curious. Yeah. Let's see. I can actually look at the mock-up here. Take a look. Oh, that is the bigger swan, I think. Yep, it is. Yeah, and then we got 2 more smaller ones. So yeah, that's the biggest one in the whole pattern. Is the one I'm working on right now. Yeah, it's nice. Pattern Keeper, they updated now so that the mock-up can be used as the thumbnail instead of the first page of the pattern. Because yeah, with Heaven and Earth and Artecy designs, then the first page of the pattern was the cover page, which showed the picture, so that worked. But for other patterns, the first page was sometimes the chart, so then you would just have a chart picture showing on your menu of imported patterns. So yeah, it was nice to be able to use the thumbnail. Then you know for sure exactly which one it is. I hope they introduce a feature where you can rearrange the order of them, because they're only in the order you imported them in. So, because yeah, the first one I imported, I'm not doing yet. That's the Marvelous Garden. That's the peacocks. I finally finished gridding up the fabric for that one, but I haven't made a start on it because I'm still working on the background of Firefly, because the first couple of pages worth of the pattern are almost all one color. There's 3 other colors in very limited quantities on that page, but other than that, it's all white. So yeah, I will outline that one and fill it in. Again, makes a good one to chip away at when I'm too tired to pay attention to complex stitching, but I still want to stitch. And yeah, if I was diving into a new project and having to do all that background, would just be like, oh, feels like it takes forever. So it's a good system. I like it. I can do it when I'm too tired to do complex stitching, and then I don't get bored doing it while I'm waiting for the more complex part to come up when I am working full time on a project. So I see that is just enough for that one in the corner. And I don't think I'm going to do the top part of this diagonal yet. I may just leave it for when I make the next pass. Like I said, I'm not strict with where I begin and end the edges of my diagonals. However it happens to work out is just fine. Normally, I wouldn't bother doing this one stitch, but as it is still threaded because I was just using it, and there's only enough for one stitch, I'm just going to do it finish it off. Have one less thread to deal with on the next diagonal. Yeah, so a little slower going this session, as there's been a lot of color changes. So many. Okay. Yeah, it's just hard to believe it's almost fall. Or I guess it is fall by some calendars, by some measures. Yeah. Summer went by really fast for me. Okay, that is the last one of that color. So even though it's not threaded, I'm gonna thread it and do it and be done with it. Yeah, I actually prefer having the longer threads hanging. I find they're easier to tuck away, keep tamed, compared to the shorter threads. They annoy me more. Okay, and then all these I'm going to set aside. There, so I'm just going to twist these a bit to keep the shorter ones contained, using the longer ones to sort of keep them anchored. Okay, so that one is still threaded. All right, so what I'm gonna do, okay, and that's 3 is all I'm gonna get out of these. Yeah, that's what I figured would happen. That's why I joined another thread, just to do his head and neck here. And then the white one from the wings will carry on with it. Where is it? Ah, there it is. I probably don't have to be as precise with this color because it's basically the same color as my fabric. You're really not going to be able to see it. I think this one is still threaded, so yes, I am going to do the stitch it is in. This one is definitely out of the diagonal, so away you go. All right. Back into these light colors as we work on the swan's body and wings. Yeah, my husband didn't get burning eyes or sore throat from the smoke, but he got a bad headache. So, yeah. My son wasn't really that affected, but then I guess younger people are generally more resilient than us older folks, right? Okay. Yeah, I can see there's going to be a bunch of color changes again in this area, but that makes the detail we love. Yeah, then sort of further down this diagonal, there's a lot of navy blue, bigger sections, so that goes faster, so that kind of makes up for it. Yeah, it's funny because I'd see people asking, and you know, has anyone stitched this pattern? Is it bad for confetti? And I'm thinking, well, these huge full coverage detailed patterns, they're always confetti, but no, they're right. Some of them are a lot more complex, because I went and sort of browsed through the peacock one that I plan to do, the Marvelous Garden by Heaven and Earth Designs, and yeah, it does have confetti, but not near the amount that I have on this project. There's a lot more areas with bigger blocks of color. It's still a beautiful detailed pattern, but yeah, it looks like it'll be a bit of a faster stitch than this one. So, because yeah, the last one I did, the Oriental Triptych, if that's how you pronounce it, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but anyway, that one was more stitches than this pattern, but it took, like, they're about the same for completion because that one had more areas of background and less confetti. There were some confetti heavy areas, but not as much. Like this one has been almost unrelenting in a lot of places. So, especially in the top through the trees. Oh man, those were a slog to get through them. Ah, but we did. Eventually it'll be done. Every single little X brings us that much closer to completion. Okay, new color, 210. Yeah, people are so amazed by this, and it's like, well, in the end, it's still just one X at a time. When you look at them all together, then yeah, it's pretty overwhelming, but even with multiple threads like this, you're still only stitching one stitch at a time. Then you may drop the thread and do another, but oh, what the heck is that? Oh, that is weird. Look at that. Oh, it wasn't actually a loop. It was two threads and they were kind of knotted around each other, so I thought it was a single thread. Okay, let's try that again. That would have looked weird. And it certainly wouldn't have held. Yeah, there was someone who said that they saw someone had done loop starts, and I don't know if they pulled it too hard, but that they started popping open, like breaking after a while. Like, oh gosh, that's heartbreaking after all that work, and it starts unraveling. Oh. But yeah, I've never had that problem, as long as you are careful with your tension and you don't ream on it. And I don't know, maybe they were using a different brand of thread or something, but I've never had that happen, knock on wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that, another color. Oh yes, and in about 3 more diagonals I will have another 0. Woohoo! Yeah, they're starting to starting to pile up now as we get closer to the end. Okay, yeah, my first 0, it took me until like halfway through the pattern to get 1 0. So I'm going to park down here because then I'm going to do all these that are to the left. Then I can do this one again, another stitch with this one, this blue, and not close anything in, as per my usual. So yeah, definitely not a 200 stitch session today. This one was a lot more detail because of the swan here. So it slowed us down, but anything over 100 stitches in an hour, I'm pretty happy with. Yes, I've been binging my way through a rewatch of ER. And I had the other night, I thought, oh, I'll watch one more episode before I go to bed. And then it was the most heartbreaking episode ever. Like, oh, shoot, like 5 minutes in. Didn't matter, I knew this time what would happen. It's still heartbreaking. First time was really heartbreaking because I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, even though I know what's going to happen, still already heartbreaking. All right, and then I'm going to carry this one back up here. Then we're going to do that. Okay, let me see what I've got. I've got for threads what I want to do with what I've got. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do first, yeah, is I'm going to go further down. Oops, trying to not make a tangled mess of my thread here. Yeah, I'm going to go further down this way, down diagonal, and work my way up so that I can avoid closing anything in. Say it's not required to do this. This is just my way. You do your way, whatever works for you. It should be more about enjoying this and being happy with your finished project than following some rules. Okay. I think even when people are sort of using other people's methods that they've seen, everybody still does it with slight variations. I think does it their own way, which is pretty neat actually. The same project or same hobby, but everyone finds their own way of doing it. When I first started stitching these full coverage pieces, I had never seen parking. So the first time I saw pictures of it, I was like, wow, what's with all those threads hanging? You know, why would you stitch it that way? But then I ended up getting sucked into that world. Now I do it myself. Yeah, sometimes people get into really heated arguments too about which way is better. It's like, you know what, guys? This isn't life or death. We're not talking about medical procedures here, you know? Find your way that you're happy with. You do it. Whatever works for you. Okay, so this is a short enough carry. I'm not going to bother threading it across the back, even though the stitches between it are done, but it's like a centimeter, so if it's more than an inch, then I will tack it down. Okay, so there. Did that because then I can do those 3. Don't want both threads at once, just one. Park. Then I can do these 3 and park. Okay, going in groups of 3 here. These 3 here in park. Reaching the edge of this diagonal too. All right. Now just one. Oops. I wanted to highlight unstitched ones, not ones that I've already stitched. That's if you need to frog stuff, rip it out, which I don't need to do, thankfully. Hopefully in saying that I won't jinx myself. There we are. Well, in spite of all the confetti, I feel like I made some good progress today. 79.8, so by the time I do my next Stitch With Me session, I might be at 80%. shall see. I'm definitely going to hit it this month, though. I know that. So, yeah, we'll see whether I get this done by the end of the year or not. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it a day there and go make some bread like I talked about earlier. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.